A terrible disease called the Red Death had spread across the land. It was a deadly plague bringing pain and horror. The sick would bleed from their skin, suffer terrible fevers, and die within half an hour. The people were terrified. Nothing could stop it. But Prince Prospero refused to worry. He was a rich and powerful man, and when he saw his kingdom falling apart, he simply gathered 1,000 of his wealthiest friends and locked himself inside his grand castle. Inside the castle there was plenty of food, wine, and entertainment. They had musicians, dancers, and everything they needed to ignore the world outside. They locked the gates shut so no one could enter or leave. Outside, the plague raged on, but inside there was only celebration and laughter. After months in the castle, Prince Prospero decided to throw a grand masquerade ball, a huge masked party filled with music and dancing. The castle was decorated with 7 rooms, each with its own color and theme. 1, blue 2, purple 3, green 4, orange 5, white 6th, violet 7th, black and red. The 7th room was the strangest of all. Its walls and ceiling were black, but the windows were a deep blood red. In the center of the room stood a huge ebony clock that gave off a deep, echoing chime every time it struck the hour. Whenever the clock rang, the party would stop. The guests would fall silent, uncomfortable, as if something had disturbed them. But once the sound faded, they would laugh nervously and continue dancing. They ignored the fear creeping into their hearts. As the party went on, people drank and danced in their extravagant masks and costumes. The music was loud, the laughter endless. Then, at the stroke of midnight, something changed. A new figure appeared in the crowd, someone no one had seen before. He was dressed in a long, dark robe, much like a burial shroud. His mask was horrifying, pale and blood-stained, like the face of a corpse. The moment the guests saw him, a chill ran through the room. The figure's costume looked exactly like a victim of the Red Death. At first the guests gasped in horror, then turned to Prince Prospero, expecting him to punish whoever had dared to mock them with such a cruel joke. But Prospero said nothing. His face turned red with rage. "Who dares insult us with this costume?" he shouted. "Seize him. Unmask him. We will see who dares mock us." But no one moved. The figure slowly walked through the rooms, moving from blue to purple to green to orange to white to violet, until he reached the 7th room, the black and red chamber. Prince Prospero, furious, grabbed a dagger and ran after the figure, determined to kill him with his own hands. But the moment he entered the 7th room, there was a scream. The guests watched in horror as the prince stumbled and fell to the ground, dead. Gathering their courage, the guests rushed toward the masked figure, but when they grabbed him, they found nothing beneath the robe. No body, no face, nothing at all. Then, one by one, the guests began to collapse. Blood poured from their skin. The Red Death had come. By the end of the night, everyone was dead. The black clock stopped ticking, the torches burned out, and in the silence that followed, only death remained. And darkness and decay and the Red Death held unlimited power over all.